now, where we have another of our big pro teams here. Steve Rubin, Alexander Hayne, and Mike Sigrist. That is not where we want to start the video. Playing against Brian Miller, Jason Miller, and Chris Prochak.
Actual time walk match.
Yeah, we walked a little too far forward on time on that one. But anyway, let's enjoy some magic here as we get to see at least how this thing went along.
Looks like a classic vampires versus vampires.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot, the word kind of buzzing around the event hall here is that most teams have a black-white vampires deck, which isn't really a big surprise. But sometimes they'll end up facing each other like we see here. Sadistic Sky Marcher already getting in.
Look at Steve's deck. Graveyard, he has a Legion Lieutenant. He just played a Forerunner as well.
Forerunner of the Legion. Let's see what he gets. He's going to get the Lieutenant. No, he already has a Lieutenant.
Wow.
He's going to get another Sadistic Sky Marcher. I guess it could be worse for Brian, though this is not good.
His deck looks great.
Yeah. I mean, he could have got Sanctum Seeker or Vona,
sure.
But still. What are you laughing about? You open those?
I mean,
it's 12 booster packs, Kenji.
These are all uncommons from Rivals, though, Marshall. All of these cards that he's played.
That's true. You're right. Oh, my God. And one of them's dead, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the good news for Brian, and perhaps the most powerful one.
I think so, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, no. Missing multiple land drops here for Brian Miller, and this is not going to go well for him.
Looks like he's revealing a Paladin of the Bloodstain to cast that Sadistic Sky Marcher for 3. Alternate cost of 4 if you don't reveal a vampire from your hand.
You'd still pay 4 for that card, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Wow. And
so would you pay 3 then? Or?
I think I would pay 3 most of the time.
This is getting ugly, by the way. Steve Rubin is just putting it to Brian Miller at this point.
And Brian really needed that Forerunner of the Legion to die there. He used a Martyr of Dusk. It looks like Steve had actually put the +1/+1 trigger from the Forerunner on itself when he cast that Sky Marcher. And Brian went for the combat trick, but Steve had the moment of craving to blow that out.
Who's hungry?
Excellent draft 17. Please report to the red gathering point. Once again, excellent draft number 17. Please report to the red.
So now if you're Steve, you have to think a little bit. Okay, well, the opponent just passed with 3 mana open. They've been missing land drops.
Right. How do they not play a creature
What can they have here, you know? And we'll see what Steve does. He's probably just going to pay the Paladin of the Bloodstained and pump up 2 of his creatures. He might not even attack with the Forerunner this turn. He might just pump up each of the Sadistic and get in for 6 flying lifelink in the air.
Just trying to play around combat tricks of various sorts?
Yeah, it could be like a Slash of Talons, Vampire Zeal, another Moment of Triumph. As long as he doesn't attack with a 2/2. Presumably
would
he's pretty
you
safe.
not attack with the 2/2?
Oh, I don't think there's any reason to right now. You're
well,
so far
I mean, it's
ahead.
a 2/2 against a 1/1.
Sure. But again, Brian passed with so much mana. All right, at least all of his mana open when he just,
super sketchy.
But we'll see if Steve, if Steve has a combat trick again in his hand, if he has a Moment of Triumph, a Vampire Zeal of his own, then he might make that attack anyways.
Well, he's going to do it.
Yeah. He also just realizes he's so far ahead that maybe he's okay to trade a combat trick away for his Forerunner.
Wow, it just, nothing happened.
Maybe Brian has Stone Nothing.
Like, Brian just literally has no castable spells on 3 mana or 2 mana or 1 mana. That's insane.
That's not where you want to be in this format.
No,
but
he's going to play his own copy of Paladin of the Bloodstain, which admittedly is a nice way to stabilize, but he's way too far behind at this point. Also, 2 Sadistic Sky Marcher. Come on, Steve Rubin. That's not reasonable.
Yeah.
The only good news for Brian is that Steve has drawn lands. He's got another land in his hand as well.
It looks like an Impale here is going to take care of that Paladin of the Bloodstained. This allows for a full swing from Steve.
Yeah.
And Brian would love to double block one of the X2s here, the Forerunner or the Paladin of the Bloodstained, but it's just not that good. He's just taking so much damage. He's emptying out his board. He's still going to be facing down at least 4 creatures if he does that.
Probably going to have to suck it up and do so.
Yeah, there we see it. Double block on the Forerunner.
Sure.
So 2, 4, 6,
take
8. So gain 2. So he'll take effectively 6 here, fall down to 4, but still fighting plenty of lethal threats.
In the meantime, Rubin's life total is just skyrocketing upwards as well. And it's land go.
Would you say it's sky marching up?
Yeah, I would say that. Now I wonder if Steve has to actually consider the worst case scenarios, settle the wreckage, right?
And he is.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
Wisely doing so.
It's also a lethal attack there with those two creatures alone. So if Brian continued to have literal nothing, which is apparently exactly what he had, then he would still win the game anyway, and that's exactly what happened. So Rubin picks up game number 1.
You can see that Mike-Sigrist also took his first game versus Chris Prochak.
Of course, the team we're seeing on the right-hand side is the one that we watched for our main match. That's the PGO. But you can get a little glimpse of Alexander Hayne there on the left.
Insane Hayne, as he's
called
around the world.
That is. And there's Steve Rubin sitting on his right-hand side, and Sigrist would be closest to us.
Gotta love team events. You can see the players there consulting each other, Alex and Mike talking.
I love that. That's definitely my favorite part of these events, is listening how the different teams have chosen to communicate or not.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes they get into fights.
Sure. Well, everybody has a unique play style, you know. And
some people's unique play style is swearing at their opponent or at their teammate. Man, I was playing in one of these things, and not the team we were playing against, but the team over. Man, they just started. This dude just started yelling at his teammate. He's like, "Why did you do that?" And the guy's still playing and like trying to win the game. And he's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, I need to concentrate." He's like, "How could you do that?" And I'm like, "Dude, the guy's playing still. Don't yell at him." His face turned all red.
Criticism is good to an extent in these events, but
yeah, there's a time and a place, though, right? Like, you obviously want to help each other work to improve, and that's going to require some level of, hey, we need to work on this, or you could have done this a little bit better.
Looks like Hayne took his first game as well, so a clean first game sweep.
Don't know what's actually happening here, by the way. But hopefully the camera angle, this is a time walk match, so. But like you said, while we're on the wide shot here, it looks like Steve Rubin, Alexander Hayne, and Mike-Sigrist all won. There we go. Now we've got some action. So we're going to jump in the middle table here. Alexander Hayne versus Jason Miller.
I'm rooting for Jason Miller here. He's got some Saga lands, it looks like.
No, those are ugly.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm on Team Alex Hayne for sure. Oh, Canada.
Gotta love Saga.
Nah, dog. I really don't.
Fair enough.
They're not even on the basic land power rankings. Alex is going to chip in for 2 damage in the air with the Kite Sail Corsair and follow things up with me and Kenji's new favorite card of the format. Sailor of Me. We'll talk about this tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We've been running some experiments in Booster Draft in the hotel room over the course of our evening last night. And you know what? Our experiments were successful.
Yeah, they were.
There were trophies, my friend.
You didn't have any, though, did you? You had one?
I trophied.
But you didn't have any Sailor of Means.
Well, I tried to draft Sailor of Means.
All right.
It was a Sailor of Means deck. It just didn't have Sailor. There weren't any because it's the hot item on Magic Online right now. I was crashing Tide there.
Yeah, both players getting on the aggro front. Seeing red on the Corsair. Nice. I love it. Now, the nice thing I like about these enchantments, See Red, Curious Obsession, etc., you don't have to sacrifice the creature if they don't attack. You just have to sacrifice the enchantment themselves. A lot of these types of effects of old, you've had to like sacrifice the creature or something weird like that, but just that means you're able to still get in for a lot of damage while you have the enchantment equipped and you have good attacks. Otherwise, you can just hold back if you need to block. And sure, you'll lose the enchantment, but you don't lose your creature. Not a bad start from Jason. We saw that Hunt the Week on the Fathom Fleet border take care of that Sailor of Means. Let's see if Alex wants to attack here. I'm assuming he would. Put Jason on that 3-turn clock. All right, land for the turn. It looks like he's just going full on aggro. I think that's a Headstrong Brute, is it not?
That's a Headstrong Brute.
So he has a creature that doesn't want to block, and he has a creature that can't block.
Right. Race is on. He's not going to need much, just another, tempo play, another short-term answer here for a creature, and he could easily win this race. He might win it anyway.
And he has 2 mana open as well, so he could have something like Expel from Mirazka, Reckless Rage, a few tricks up his sleeve. On the surface of things, though, Jason does win this race. Alex is not presenting lethal on the following turn, on board anyways. Of course, when you're playing against red-blue, they have tons of combat tricks, other hasty creatures. Even a Fanatical Firebrand would do the difference. Revealing a Tishana.
Well, that's a good long-term game plan, but we're a little far away at the moment. 5 lands. Does he have a land to play this turn? Does he have a land drop to give this turn is what I mean?
I don't...
Yeah, he does.
Okay, yeah, I don't think he played a land this turn.
Right, but he ended up binning the Tishana anyway. He says, that's not going to be the way I win this game. Oh, but there's contract killing.
And that's
for the big 2-for-1.
What he was looking for. It deals with Alexander's...
Especially if he has a follow-up. Can he actually cast something here?
Dealing with Alex's most powerful creature, the one that's also evasive.
Oh, he does have something else.
It allows him to play another creature, yeah, Dusk Legion Zealot.
And that's actually quite good here. That can chump block the Brute.
We'll see if Alex has maybe, say, a cheap Pirate and a Bravado's, or Buccaneer's Bravado. That would finish the game off here.
It would, it would.
But the problem for Alex is that he needs more than just 1 card to win in this scenario. If Bravado itself was enough, sure, maybe. Oh, yeah, he's just casting a Vanquisher's Banner here, which is a great card. And he has a Siren Stormtamer to follow up. But...
close.
It's very close, because Jason doesn't have lethal on the crackback either.
No.
Alex can just block the Emperor's Vanguard.
This is a really sweet game.
And Jason's only dealing 3 damage, so it all depends on what Jason draws here. And Alex knows he has at least one of his cards being the Fathom Fleet Border that he bounced on a previous turn with that Crashing Tide.
So we're looking for a fight card, a bounce spell, a removal spell, a pump spell. Like almost anything that interacts with a creature could win it, and he doesn't have it.
Yeah, and so this is the smart attack from Jason then, because Alex is still forced to chump the Emperor's Vanguard.
Oh boy.
But now Jason has plenty of blockers.
Yeah, he's put the ball right back in Alexander Haynes' court, because this attack is able to be blocked. And Colossal Dreadmaw is a mighty beast on the crackback as well.
So Jason's got to weigh all the options here, because if Alex has something like a Sure Strike, he doesn't really want to lose that Dreadmaw. It's possible we see him just chumping with his 2-1 and 1-1 instead of throwing the Colossal Dreadmaw in front. But then Jason also think, okay, well, maybe this is the only route Alex has to win. Maybe I need to block with both. Oh, that's right. He doesn't even have Menace. I'm sorry.
He can just chump. Yep, he can just chump block here. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
That ruins most plans. His Siren Stormtamer leaving the battlefield remove that Menace.
Yeah, now Alex has to deal with the Colossal Dreadmaw. And even if he does, he's taking lethal from the Emperor's Vanguard. And kaboom, nice one, Jason Miller.
Yeah.
That was a tight game, too. And his team really needed that game win. They were down 1 game apiece across the board. So things were looking terrible.
Ooh. Mike Sigrist over here looks like has a very good Dinosaurs deck. See that Raging Sword Tooth on the bottom of the screen there. He just cast a Crested Horncaller. I see a Forerunner of the Empire in his graveyard. 2 Grazing Whiptails. Wow. Those are the dinos you like to see. But Mike on 5 life and facing down, well, an enraged creature that can easily just deal him 2 damage.
Yeah,
Frill Death Spitter.
Even though he's way ahead, this could get actually pretty close, couldn't it?
The crazy thing is there are so many unblockable or hard to block creatures that are in this format that it makes these racing situations so tight. I mean, you see in Chris's graveyard, he's playing 2 of the Mistcloaked Heralds.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he built the blue-red deck.
Now, blue-red you normally think of as the Pirates deck, but I suppose if he has enough enchantments, say Swashbuckling, One with the Wind, Sea Red, as we saw in the previous game, or even Curious Obsession, then those those heralds get much, much better.
Grand Prix players. Parents are now up for round 4.
All right, well, here's a 4-4 double striking flyer that Mike is obligated to block with at least one of his whiptails.
So it's just a chump block there from Sigrist.
Right.
Pairings are also online at pairings.channelfireball.com.
Okay, it sounds like we're right up against the next round of action here in Indy. That means we're going to have to cut this time walk round a little bit short, unfortunately. I can tell you that Steve Rubin, Alexander Hayne, and Mike Sigrist were able to finish off the round in their favor, as you see Mike pick up that match win there. So they did end up improving to 3-0. That's going to do it for Time Walk here in round number 2. When we come back, we'll have live action here on the Pro Show from GP Indianapolis.